Yes, I still see you, but no, the recording does not. Okay, so this is the same things we've been doing. We are completing a table, and then we're going to go ahead and have it graph for us. Now, I see my equation says y minus 3. So on the line for y, I'm going to do the x minus 3. What is the x value for the first one? What is the x value for the first step? What do I see as my x value? My first x value, -5. So with Desmos, you're going to go -5 minus 3. And they'll show you a check mark that you did the right thing, okay? And then you just hit tab and go to the next one. And if there's a check mark, you've done the right thing. And if there's not a check mark, then you haven't done the right thing, okay? So we're going to quickly go through this. We're going to put the x in and -3. It shows me a check mark, yay. Tab, tab. X value, -3. Shows me a check mark, yay, tab, tab, okay? If it doesn't show a check mark, it means that you've either put the wrong X in or put the wrong subtraction in, because it's looking for you to replace the X from the table, from the rule, with the X that you're being given, okay? And notice it's calculating for us what that equals, so we don't have to worry about that piece of it. We just have to make sure we're putting the right stuff in. Okay, everybody almost done with that? I should see you on your Desmos, Kevin, not somewhere else. So refresh your screen. Maybe your Bloxy went crazy a little bit. There you are. So everybody almost got their table done? Is everybody done with making the table? Moment. Anybody still working on it? The table. That's all we're worried about right now, the table. Is everybody done with the table? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to plot the points. We're on part 2. Plot the points from the table on the graph. Now remember, the X is the one that goes left and right. The Y is the one that goes up and down. So this says -5, which means I go left from the center, right? And -8 means I go down from that point. And I put the dot. Okay. -3. Down to 6. -2. Down to 4. Anybody not understand what's going on? Oh, this one's not on the right spot. That would make sense. Now, I've made a mistake and I'm going to go fix it. So I'm going to get the eraser and I'm going to erase the 2 that I put in the wrong spot. And then go back to the pencil. Okay, that is because I figured out the problem. That wasn't necessarily the wrong spot. That was supposed to be -3, -6, right? Then it was -1, -4. It was this one over here that I had out of whack. It's okay, it happens. That's a nice thing about Desmos, it's easy to fix. Okay, I'm at 0, -3. +1, 2, -2. +3, 0, and +5, 2. Are we okay with that? Is there anybody that needs more time to finish that? Putting the dots on there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get them all? Yes, 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 I did. Are we okay? Does anybody need more time for that? Okay. What have I not done yet in step 2? It says step 2 says plot the points, so that's finished. Let's just stay with step 3. Complete the graph with a straight line. So have I done that yet? Have I finished step 3? And it's because of step 3 that this won't, I can't push this button, right? Because I haven't done step 3, which is to complete the graph with a straight line. So I'm going to go get my line feature. Now, your line should go beyond your graph, should be farther. Okay. Should go farther than your points. It should continue from one end to the graph to the other. So if I was going to do the one just before 5, which would be -6, or one before that, which would be -7, what would my answer be if I had x of -7? What would my answer be if I had an x of -7? Because I need to go to the edge of the graph, and that's x of -7, y of what? If I chose x of -7, what would the y be? If I put a -7 minus 3, what would that make my y? -10. So that means that when I go to make my line, I'm going to start it at -7, 10. And I'm going to drag it all the way through my spots. Oops, that's not -7. Try again. Erase that. That was -8. -7. Drag it through. So it goes all the way. 1 second. I have to restart. I have to be able to see what I'm doing. That'd be a good plan. And I see you. I don't see what I was doing. Okay. Drag it all the way through till it hits the other side. So it goes beyond your points, higher than your points and lower than your points. So you're going to go until you find out what it would have been, and you're going to drag it through. Once you've dragged your line through, notice this is available now. And if you click it, it'll show you how good you did. My line looks pretty good. If yours isn't good and you need to fix it, click Fix My Graph. Okay, go do that, please. If you hit Submit and Check, and it turns out that your line isn't good, or you've got your points in the wrong spot, right? Then you're going to go ahead and click on fix my graph and fix the parts that aren't quite right. If you hit submit and check and you're good, we're good. I'm waiting on a couple people to do that and see if they're good. No one's moved forward because you haven't seen me hit the next button, have you? So everybody should still be on this slide, just like me. Charlie. So back arrow, Charlie, come back with us. Okay. Is everybody's okay, or do you still need time to fix it? Okay, I need you guys to be keeping up. We cannot be wasting time with people that are deciding to not focus and then think that they're going to have more time to finish. Okay, no one should be on any slide but this one. So my person that went ahead needs to back it up. Thank you. Okay, so now that it's okay, I'm going to hit next. And it's the same type of problem, but they changed up the equation a little bit, right? So we're going to put in the x they tell us to the rule they tell us. In this case, the rule is 4 minus x, right? The rule is 4 minus x. So I have to go 4 minus my x value. Remember, when we substitute, we have to put it into parentheses. I got my check mark, yay. So I can hit tab and go to the next one. 4 minus my x value. Tab, yay, because I got a check mark. 4 minus my x value. Now, once I get to positives, I don't need the parentheses anymore because I don't have to worry about the minus of a minus thing happening. Okay, my equation went 4 minus the x value. So everybody should be almost done with their table. Okay, we're going to go plot the point again. Okay, this says when x is -3, y is +7. So -3, +7. -1, +5. 0 gets me 4. 1, they don't have a 1. 2 gets me 2. 3 gets me 1. 4 gets me 0. 5 gets me -1. Okay. Are we good? Now I need to connect my line again. I need to make sure I use all the way to the edge of the graph. All the way to the edge of the graph. So what x would I have had to have in here to make it a +10 when I was done? Well, I had a -3 and that was 7. So I have to go farther than -3. So what +4 makes 10? What +4 makes 10? . Come on, guys. What plus 4 makes 10? Because we're putting a negative in. That's why it's a plus. What plus 4 makes 10? 6. So it's a negative 6. And we drag it down. And we make it go through the points. And we make it hit the other side. Once we got our line in, we can hit the submit and check. Mine turned out okay. How are your guys' turning out? Wondering why I still see people back on question number 1. Seems to me like they're not participating. Gage, Kevin, Adrian. You should be working on the second slide, unless you'd like to be taken out of Zoom because you're not really here. Everybody should have checked it and be fixing it if you need to fix it. All right. We still need more time to fix what we started. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one says I take my x and what's this 2x mean? What's that 2x mean that we're supposed to do? If I say 2x, when they're squished together, what does that mean is happening? What does it mean if I say 2x? What math operation is the 2x? So everybody should be on slide 3. If you didn't finish slide 2, oh well, move on. If you didn't finish slide 2, oh well, move on. Come on, get on to slide 3. All right, so yes, it means multiplication. So this says 2 times my x value. So 2 times my x value. I got a check mark, I'm happy. So I keep going. This says 2, oops, moved, times my x value. Go back. Times my x value. Got the check mark, that's good. 2 times my x value. 2 times my x value. So the only thing changing is what's in parentheses, because what's in parentheses stands for your x. What's in parentheses stands for your x. Okay. Manny and Kevin catch up. Time to be caught up. You should be on number 3. Unless you want to leave, you should be on number 3. Okay. Remember, once we move on to the next slide, just leave it behind. Leave it behind, take lower credit, don't lose the extra points because you stalled. Okay, -3, -6, -2, -4, -1, -2, 0, 0. Oh, it went through 0, 0. What kind of graph is this then? It went through 0, 0. What kind of graphs are going through 0, 0? We learned that. It's proportional, yes. No one should be anywhere but slide 3. Everyone should be on slide 3. If you moved ahead by mistake, come back to slide 3. Okay. All right, so I need to do the same thing. I need to connect my line, but to connect my line, I got to have an x of -10. So what did a y, correction, a y of -10. My equation is y equals 2 times x. So what did my x have to be if my y was -10? What did my x have to be because my y is -10? What does my x have to be if my y is going to be -10? Okay. Remember, our equation says 2 times x. So what does our x have to be if our y is going to be -10? Two times what makes -10 is what it's asking, what I'm asking. 2 times what makes -10? No one should be on the 4th slide. We haven't finished the 3rd slide yet. Maybe if we participated, 2 times what makes -10? -5. So I have to connect my line starting down at -5, -10, and I have to bring it all the way back up. So it's going edge to edge now. You cannot just do dots to dots. If all you're doing on your graph is dots to dots, you will be marked down. Okay. All right, now we're going into slide 4. Okay, slide 4 says -1/3 of x. So first thing I have to put in that -1/3. So I'm going to put the minus sign. I'm going to put 1, the slash, and the 3. And look, it makes the fraction. And then I right arrow parentheses and put in my x. And then I'm going to copy this because I don't want to have to keep writing that. And I'm going to paste it, but change from the -9 to the -6. Paste it again from -9 to -3 to 0. Just going to paste it. And once I change the x value, it gives me my check mark, which is what I want. +9. Right? All right. So I'm going to go graph those. When x is -9, y is +3. -6, +2. -3, +1, 0, 0. What kind of graph is this? Now, what did we notice about the kinds of x's they chose to use? What makes these x's a little more special than the other x's that we used? So let's go back and look for a second. On this one, I just did 3, 2, 1, 0, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. On this one, 3, 2, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're looking at number 4. What did they do special with the x's because of our rule? Who sees it? Nice thing is because this one goes so close to the edge of the graph, we just have to go ahead and make sure we pick so it's edge of the graph through our points to the edge of the graph. And that one's not so good. I have to fix it. It's okay. I just go erase one side of it. Oh, I can go do an undo button. I think. Isn't that the undo button? Well, once I did the other thing, yeah, I'm gonna have to go erase. It's okay. I didn't pick a good enough spot on the. So what are we noticing is kind of special about the x's they chose? What are we noticing is kind of special about the x's they chose? Put this one back. Because my equation would have been ugly, right? It had a fraction. So what did they make sure they did so that they made sure that they didn't end up with fractions? Look at the x's. What kind of x's did they pick to make sure? Look at the x's. What if I picked 1? What would have happened? If I had picked x of 1, what would I have gotten? If I picked x of 1, what would I have gotten? I don't know why there are people on slide 5. That's very irritating. Get back on slide 4 and stay there, please. Vanessa. If I had chosen an x of 1, what would I have gotten? Alexis, get back on slide 4, please. Vanessa, get back on slide 4, please. I didn't ask you to move forward yet. You're interfering with my teaching because I have to manage you. If I had chosen x of 1 and I put it into my rule that they gave me, what would I have gotten? If I had chosen x equals 1 and I put it into the rule they gave me, what would my y have been? Come on, guys. If we had put in 1 for the x, 1 times negative 1/3 is what? One times negative 1/3 is what? Because that's what this rule says. Negative 1/3 times the x I pick. What is negative 1 times negative 1/3? Because that's what this says. Multiply whatever you pick for x times negative 1/3. So if we pick 1 for x, we would have a fraction. Did they pick 1? Did they pick 2? What kind of numbers did they pick so that they didn't end up with fractions? Notice. What kind of numbers did they pick so they didn't end up with fractions? What kind of numbers did they pick for x to make sure they did not end up with fractions? No, they did not pick odd because 6 is not an odd number. What kind of numbers did they pick for x so they didn't end up with fractions? Yes. Thank you, Brian. No, not odds, because 6 is not odd, 0 is not odd, 6 is not odd. They picked 3s. Why did they pick x's that are 3s? Why? Why did they pick 3s? What was special about the equation, the rule? No, it's not odds. What was special about the rule that made them choose by 3s? What was special about the rule that made them pick going by 3s? This is a super important point. That's why we're not moving on to 5 yet. Because we had a fraction that was dividing by 3. Yes. So what if I had 2/7? What kind of x's would I want to pick if I was, say, 1/7? It's not to make the x's positive because I see negative y's, I see negative x's. It has nothing to do with the sign. It has everything to do with wanting to have whole numbers because fractions are a pain to graph. They're a pain to graph for anybody, people that are good at it and people that aren't good at it. So if my equation had said 1/7, what kind of x's would I want to pick? By 7s, exactly. So that we ended up with whole numbers. Even if I had a plus or minus after this, I'd want to be picking 3s for my x's. So that x piece came out to be whole numbers. And then I would add or subtract from that. Okay, so now we're moving to the next one. So it's really important you pay attention to what your rule is telling you. Pay attention to what your rule is telling you and what's going to happen to the x's. Because if a fraction is going to happen to the x's, you want to pick numbers that can be divided by the bottom of the fraction. Okay, so if it was 2/3 fraction, I'd want to be going by 3s. If it was 4/5 fractions, I want to be going by 5s. If it's 1/8 fractions, I want to be going by 8s. Whatever the bottom of the fraction is, that's the type of x's you want to pick so that you don't have fraction answers. So this says 3 times my x value of -2, add 2. Then I highlight it and I just copy it and change the part in parentheses to what's over on the left so we can make it faster. And as soon as I change that part to what's over on the side where the x's are, notice the check mark comes. And then when we hit tab, it gives us our answer. So go graph those. When x is -2, y is -4. When x is -1, y is -1. No, what did you just do? My point, oh, I was on pencil and I kept drawing. Okay. When x is 0, y is 2. Is this a proportional graph like the last two were? Is this a proportional graph like the last two were? So everyone should be on slide 5 now. If you're not on slide 5, you're about ready to get out. You shouldn't still be working on 4. It's done. It's over with. Move on. You'll get partial credit for it. Move on. Don't move on past what we're doing. Don't stay behind when we move ahead. Okay. Is this proportional? Is this proportional? Is this graph proportional? No. Why is it not proportional? That is the correct answer. Why is it not proportional though? It is correct that it's not proportional, but why? What made it not proportional? Didn't go through 0, 0. Exactly. Because remember, proportional doesn't have, also you can see by the equation, there's a plus or minus here. As soon as there's a plus or minus behind the x piece, it's not proportional. Okay. Because proportional just means it gets multiplied. So now we have to draw our line in. And we have to be able to go as close to this -10 and as close to this +10 as we can. So let's look at what the pattern was doing. When x is +2 or 8, If we're positive 3, what would we be? How much is it jumping each time? If x is positive 3, how much would we be? If x is positive 3, it would be 11, which would go past our graph. So we know we have to be going past our 10. Okay, so let's go the other direction. We need to get as close to this negative 10 as we can. So if x is negative 3, what would we be? Negative 7. If next x is negative 4, what would we be? Negative 10. So we can start our line down here at x of negative 4, y of negative 10. And then we drag him up and we make him keep going until he hits the 10 line. Okay. And then we check. Beautiful. Anybody having to fix, or are we getting kind of good at it? Okay, on to slide 6. On to slide 6. So everybody come on over into slide 6. Slide 6 with me, not slide anywhere, just slide 6. Don't go back and try and fix stuff. Get on to slide 6. We're past that. Our moments to fix. Just don't worry about it. Let's just keep moving. Get over onto slide 6. Get over onto slide 6. Okay, so I see negative 2x plus 1. So is this proportional? What did we just learn about? Is this proportional? Am I going to say this is proportional? Looking at this rule, is this a proportional rule? No. Why is it not a proportional rule? What gives it away? What in the rule is giving away that it's not proportional? What about the rule is giving away that it's not proportional? I don't see anywhere in the rule where it talks about starting at 0, 0. And I'm not asking you to look at the table of values. I'm asking you to look at the rule. What do you see in the rule that gives it away that it's not proportional? We just got done talking about it. So before I even get started doing a table, before I even get started doing a graph, what about the rule made it not proportional? What about the rule made it not proportional? Not about the table, not about the graph. What in the rule shouts at us that this is not proportional? What did I just say? Last question. What in the rule makes it not proportional? What in the rule makes it not proportional? What about this rule that I've highlighted makes it not proportional? I'll go back, I'll send mine back and I'll let you see. This is proportional. 4 is proportional. 3 is proportional. Look at how their rule looks. 5 is not proportional. Something about the rule was different. 6 is not proportional. Something about the rule is different. What in this rule right here that we've highlighted, what in that rule tells you I am not proportional? What made this rule different from 3 and 4? What does this type of rule have that 3 and 4 did not? So let's go back and look again. What is 3 missing that 6 has? I see 3. See here, here's the rule. Y equals 2x. Here's 6's rule. What does 6 have that 3 did not? What does 6 have that 3 did not? What does 5 have that 4 does not? And 3 does not? Because 3 and 4 are proportional, but 5 is not proportional and 6 is not proportional. What does their rule have that makes it not proportional? Come on, guys. We've done this a long time. We did an entire chapter about proportional. What's making that equation right there, that rule, not proportional? What's making it not go through 0, 0? If you're so fixated on the 0, 0 part of it, what part of that rule is making it not go through 0, 0? Kind of super disappointed today. What part of this rule keeps it from being 0, 0? What is my 0 at, if not 0, 0? The +1, which is what I just got done saying for this one. This is not proportional because the +2. The only way you're proportional is when there's nothing added or subtracted. It's just multiply. Okay, we're connecting. I have to be able to go all the way from edge to edge. That means I need to figure out what's happening with my pattern. Okay. If I said x of +3, where would my y be? How much are they skipping? What's it doing? Are the y's going up by +1 each time? Are the y's going up by +1 each time? No, they're not going up by plus anything. What are the y's going up by? What are the y's changing by? Because when I go up in my x's, I am not going up in my y's. So what's happening to go from 5 to 3, from 3 to 1? That's not adding. What is that doing? I don't think going from 5 to 3 and from 3 to 1 and from, oh, it's subtracting 2, just like our rule said to do, subtract 2. So if I'm going to keep subtracting 2 each time, okay, what would x of -3 be? If I'm supposed to be subtracting 2, then that means I subtracted 2 from the 5. The 5 plus something, because something subtracted to make the 5. So we're going back up to -3. So what would it be? We're working our way back. So what minus 2 made 5? That was what would happen if I put a negative 3 in here. What minus 2 made the 5? That's what would happen if I put a negative 3 in here. What take away 2 equals 5? That is the question. What take away 2 made 5? What subtracting 2 equals 5? Five plus 2 equals what? Because that minus 2 equals 5. Do it again. What minus 2 makes 7? That would be what would happen if we put negative 4 in. What minus 2 equals 7? 9. So if x was negative 4, right? If x is negative 4, y would be 9. Because it looks to me like it's going 1 over up 2, 1 over up 2, 1 over up 2, 1 over, and I can't get the up 2 in. So I have to, the best I can do is to do the 9. And it would do the same thing going the other direction. 1 over down 2, 1 over down 2. And then I check. Oh, beautiful. Number 7. I see I have a half. I see they chose for me. Everybody should be on slide 7 now. I see they chose for me by 2s. And they chose for me by 2s because it's half of. And we don't want a fraction. And we don't want a fraction. Everybody get on slide 7, please. So 1/2, arrow off, times negative 2 minus 4 more. That's the equation they told us. And then we're copying and changing the negative 2 to the 0 and so on. The only thing changing is what's in parentheses, changes to the x they told us. Nope, not 5, 6. And they purposely picked the by 2s because they did not want to have fractions on their graph. Because fractions, even for the best people, are hard to graph. They're not comfortable, not even for the math people. Okay, not even for the math people. Okay, so I'm going to go get my graph done. Negative 2 down to negative 5. 0 down to negative 4. Oh yeah, another one that's not proportional. How do I know, looking at the rule, that it's not proportional again? How do I know, looking at the rule, that it's not proportional? And this is doing that same thing, up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And they just kept going with the pattern, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Because when we look at that growth in front of the x, that's telling us how much up to go, the top of the fraction, and how much over to go, bottom of the fraction. What about the rule makes this not proportional? What about the rule makes this not proportional? Look at the rule. Why is it not proportional? Look at the rule. Why is it not proportional? The -4, the adding or subtracting after the x. Exactly. Nice. So all I'm doing, I copy and pasted the equation, so it made the table easier to do. And then to make the extension of the line, this says go down 1 and left 2. So down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2, to get where I start my line at. I just kept going. Okay. Questions so far? So because of the cut and paste thing, it makes it so much easier. Okay. Notice our x's on slide number 8. Don't worry about 7. Move on to 8. Don't worry about 7. Move on to 8. Come on, guys. Get on to number 8. Don't worry about 7. Just move on to 8. Come on, Alexis. Come on, Vanessa. Come on, Lex. Just move on to 8. Don't worry about 7. Move on to 8. We had a whole bunch of practices so that we have time to practice it. Okay. So I noticed 1/5. I noticed they gave me by 5s because I want to make sure I don't have fractions, right? So -1 over 5. Make sure you arrow to get off it. The -10 goes in the parentheses, plus 3. Is this one proportional? Look at the equation. Look at the rule. Is it proportional? If I look at that rule, does it tell me proportional? No. What's about it not proportional? What about it makes it not proportional again? That plus 3. Okay. Oops, I forgot to change this to a -5 and it told me I was wrong. I know I was wrong because I didn't get a check mark. So when you're copying and pasting, if you don't get a check mark, you forgot to change something. Okay. Okay, x is -10, y is +5. Nice. X is -5. 5, y is 4. At 0, it's 3. At positive 5, it's 2. And at positive 10, it's 1. They made this one easy to connect because they went from edge to edge for us. That was kind of nice of them. This was the easiest one, I think. Any questions about that? Any questions about that one? Why did they pick 5s again? Why did they pick x's of 5 again? Why did they pick x's that were 5s again? This is a big deal. You guys need to be noticing this. Why did they pick x's of 5 again? Why did they pick x's of 5 again? Why did they pick the x's that are 5s again, guys? Come on. What about the rule made it say, oh yeah, we better be picking 5s? I don't know why anybody's on the last slide when I haven't said move forward. So please come back to slide 8 until you're told to move forward. Thank you. Maddie? Thank you. Because of the fraction, exactly. So we're now going on to slide 9, and I am giving you one that you need to do. That is the one I want you to do. Type that into your screen. Everyone should be on slide 9 now. This is the equation you're going to do. That is the equation you're going to do. So type that into your response and hit submit. Okay. What kind of x's should I be picking? Fours. So 0 always goes in the middle. So I'm going to put 0 in the middle. What's the first 4 before 0? What's the first 4 before? Yes. And the next 4 after that? Negative 8. And then we mirror it in the other direction. We're going to go with our positive 4 and our positive 8. Okay. We are not going to do more than 5. We're just going to do those 5. So 1/4 negative 8 plus 2. And then I highlight it once it gives me the check mark. And I go change, right? So I keep getting check marks. You are not to do any equation but the one that I'm doing with you right now. We picked the 4s because the bottom was a 4. If the bottom was a 3, we pick 3s. If the bottom is a 7, we pick 7s. We go by whatever the bottom tells us so that we don't have fractions because we don't like them. So -8 is 0. -4 is 1. 0 is 2. 4 is 3. And +8 is 4. And because we're close to the edge of the graph, it makes it easier to draw our line. One second. And it looks like mine's a little bit off. So I'm going to fix it by doing the undo and try again. Because it's going up 1 over 4, so down 1 over 2 means I have to go less steep. Like this. Part of it is putting my dots in perfect spots too. And when I go check it, I'm super close. So I count it as good. Okay, if you are finished, open the Google Classroom and turn in your assignment, which says in class activity chapter 3, activity 6. In class chapter 3, activity 6. So once you're done, you go over to the Google Classroom. You'll see that the activity has posted. And you're looking for in class activity 3, chapter 3, activity 6. And make sure you hit turn in if you are finished. And you can close this window. I'm about ready to close it on my side. Okay. Finish up that one. Finish up that one. Go over to the Google Classroom and hit turn in for in class chapter 3, activity 6. And I'm going to go over your homework with you. Okay, so everybody's turning in that in class activity 6. Assignment 5 is your homework assignment. It is a review worksheet that you have 6 of these. Okay. I see that 2 of them are over 3, so they were nice. And for some of it, they made them over 3s, but not all of them. So you need to plan that for number 8 on number 4, you will have a fraction answer. And for number 2 on number 6, you will have a fraction answer. Not a big deal. What kind of let me share so we could talk about it again. Okay, so see, they put an 8 in here for number 4, but this is an over 3. So that means that'll give you a fraction answer. And that's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. And on number 6, they give you a 2. So that's going to have a fraction answer. And it's okay. It's not a big deal. You're just going to get the closest estimate. Okay, how many of these graphs are proportional? By looking at their rules, how many of these graphs are proportional. I see 8 more people need to turn in their assignment. No one should be back on anything but number 9. Get to number 9. Don't worry about things we passed. We're done with it. It's okay. Move on. Get it turned in. Everybody should have gone to the Google Classroom and hit turn in. And on this, they hit there's a turn in button, is there? Is there a place to turn in, or do you just close it? Because I don't see one. Other than my submit thing. Okay, so I'm going to close out of it. I don't need to be open anymore. Go over to the edge, sign out, and exit this activity. Okay, so we're going to bring it back up again. This is our assignment worksheet. We have 6 of these to do. I do expect you to show your work for the table of values. That means at the bottom, I'm going to put a page in for you to do your work. Because I can miraculously do that. I go down to the bottom, I hit the plus sign, I add a page in for myself. When you start working on this activity, if your page blank is not there, go down to the bottom of Cami. There's a great big plus sign, you hit a plus and add a page. Your work must be shown for these. It's not scratch paper. Out of these 6 rules, how many are proportional? Out of these 6 rules, how many are proportional? Out of those 6 rules that I see on the screen, let me go a little bit more. There are 6 rules on the screen. How many are proportional? Look at the rules. We talked over and over about what rule looks like when it's proportional. How many are proportional? We talked over and over. When we get done with this, I can let you go. You guys are the ones holding us here because you're not answering the question. Out of these 6 rules that I can see on my screen, how many of those are proportional? We talked over and over about what makes a proportional rule. Out of those 6 rules, how many are proportional? Not 2. I can tell you that for sure. Would a -4 after an X be a proportional? Would a -2 after an X be proportional? Would a +4, would a -4, would a how many on here would be proportional? One, because there's only one that doesn't add something. And we talked about that multiple times during the notes. So I'm a little disappointed. So